Okay, and we're live. Good afternoon, a pleasant day to each and every one of you. Good afternoon to our Zoom participants, and good afternoon to our FB Live viewers. So, welcome to another e learning session brought to you by Ariva Academy. Again, this is Irish Malonda Sampson, your host. And for our today's topic, what should sales executives be doing to generate sales now and after the lockdown? So we have invited an international speaker and later you will meet him. But before that, please allow me to acknowledge our international, our out of the country rather, participants. Thank you for joining us, our participants from Malaysia. They are 18 participants from Malaysia. Wow, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining us also, our participants from Bangladesh, Brunei, Nepal, and Singapore. And now, in order for us to have a smooth flow of our e-learning session, here are the house rules. We will have a 2 to 3 minute break after the presentation of our guest speaker and before we move on to our question and answer. Participants' microphones will be temporarily disabled by the administrator during discussion to avoid interruptions. Questions will be entertained after each topic of the session. For questions and clarifications during the provided time after each topic, please click the raise button for the administrator to enable the microphone for live questions. Questions may also be given via chat. One question at a time will be entertained. For comments and feedback, please scan this QR code. It will be directed to our feedback form. Please send us your feedbacks and comments in order for us to improve our future e-learning sessions. And now, it's an honor to introduce our speaker. Our speaker for today is internationally recognized as a world-class expert, sales and marketing professional veteran. He has shared effective real-world skills and techniques with thousands of professionals in 7 countries in hundreds of industries who sell a variety of products and services and to dramatically increase professional, business, and personal results. Presently, as president of Comtech Solutions, LLC USA, Group CEO of Comtech Innovative Group in Malaysia, and Executive Director of YCM Foundation. With the passion of selling owing in his veins, he is involved in the daily operations of the companies and functions as a highly productive sales professional with his team, leading them to perform with excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all hear from Mr. Chris Randolph.
Thank you so much, Irish.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, everyone. So I want to welcome everyone to the session here today. And if there are no other instructions from Irish or Jeff or Ariva, we'll go ahead and get started. And I am very honored to be here. And I want to thank Ariva Academy, JM, Irish, Jeff for putting everything together. I spent a little bit of time with Irish and Jeff and a little bit of time with JM earlier today. Top-notch team, and can't wait to share some information with y'all. So I'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen, and I'll bring the slides in. All right. Okay, so one of the things that we're asking right now, almost every country, right? Almost every country now is in some kind of a lockdown or quarantine or a restricted movement order. So for businesses, entrepreneurs, and sales professionals, sales and marketing professionals, the number one thing on our mind right now is it possible to survive and thrive right now? Okay. Now, for a lot of us, we're thinking, how are we going to get through this? Okay. The number one question we're thinking is, can I make sales? Can I, get revenue for my business? If I cannot make sales, what am I going to do? So it's the year 2020 right now. I started doing webinars back in 2007, but it's been a long time since I've done it because a lot of people are not used to it. I was not. I got out of that habit, and I wasn't used to it, right? But now with the situation where we're kind of being forced to adapt, overcome, and to get all these things done. Okay, so two quick questions, right? Can I still make sales now? And then if the answer is yes, then a lot of us are saying, oh, if I make sales now, are they going to think that I'm greedy, or are they going to think that all I want is their money, right? So before we get into all these things, I want to give everybody a free gift. Oh, before I do that, I also want to say that everybody on this session, everyone on the Zoom session, everyone on the Facebook Live, everyone on YouTube, anyone that sees this, I'm going to give you or Ariva is going to give you all the slides that you're seeing now, so that you don't have to write everything down. So everything is going to be given to you. So what I'd like you to do is just pay a little bit of attention to me. Is that fair? If that's fair, normally I would say raise your hand, but I'm going to assume that everybody says, yes, Chris, that's very fair. Okay. So I want to give you a free gift. All right. The free gift is a report that I did a short time ago. And the title of the report is, Why Can't I Make Sales Now? Why am I not making sales? So it's a very interesting read. It gives you some answers. So I'm going to put that up on the screen, and you can actually do two things. The first is you can hit the QR code to get the free gift. You have to give me your name, your email, so I can get it sent to you. But you'll get it right away. All right. Or later on, you can check the slides that we're going to send to you, and then you can just hit it off of there as well. Okay. So the first thing that I'll share with you is that lots of leads solves lots of problems. Okay. The issue right now is that we don't have enough leads. That's why we cannot make enough sales, right? And I'll explain this a little bit later on. So most sales problems can be solved with revenue. Revenue comes from clients. Clients come from closing deals. Closing deals come from follow-up, handling objections, persuasive conversation, qualifying, setting appointments, and identifying prospects and leads. So the whole start of generating sales and revenue starts right from the very beginning of getting leads. And before this situation right now, a lot of businesses, entrepreneurs, and sales professionals still didn't have enough leads. Right now, we got a lot of people have no leads. Okay, so we're going to address that today. The thing that I want you to be aware of is that now, a lot of gurus, they tell you now is the time to learn. Now is the time to get new skills. Yes, I agree with that part to a certain extent. You have to learn new skills. You have to take those new skills, practice it, and then implement. So the bottom line is learn, action, learn, action, learn, action. So there's no point learning, waiting for your respective countries lockdown or quarantine to end, and then you implement. You have to start right now. So in Malaysia, we've been on a quarantine for I don't even know how long, probably almost 3.5, 4 weeks now. I think in the Philippines a little bit longer than that. Okay, so what have you done in the last 3 or 4 weeks that will get you ready, right now and whenever the quarantine ends, to start regenerating your business? You have to start now, because what if there's an extension? Okay, I'm not saying there's going to be, but what if there is, right? Okay, so I'll share a little bit about myself. All right, my name is Chris. I've been in sales for about 30 years, and when you look at me, it's like, look at him. How can he be in sales for 30 years? He looks so young, right? No, I'm just kidding. I'll be 50 years old in July. I'm 49 right now. So I've been in sales for about 30 years. I started my company in 1998 in San Diego, in the spare bedroom of my actually pretty crappy apartment 22 years ago in 1998. All right. If my business was a person, they could go to a bar right now. All right. So we have offices. My HQ is in California. We have our regional HQ for Southeast Asia here in KL, and we were supposed to open up a representative office in Manila, sometime this month. But of course, that's pushed back a little bit. So the reason I tell you that I'm 49 and that I've been in sales for 30 years, in business 22 years, is because in my business and my profession, I've gone through several crises. All right. We won't talk about personal crisis. We'll talk about business and economy. In 1994 in the U.S., when I was in San Diego, California, 1994 is a recession. 1994, 1995, 1996. One of my first sales jobs when I was in California in the U.S. Is I was working for Toyota as a sales executive in 1995 with the right kind of training, and implementing the skills that I learned. The first year that I was selling cars, I made about $97,000 US dollars in 1994. That's not bad for a 25-year-old kid. Then I started my company in 1998. In 2001, 9/11 hit. 9/11 hit the whole United States. I mean, it was devastating. Businesses were just shut down. All activities stopped. Okay. And then in 2008, we had the financial crisis. And then now in 2020, we have COVID-19, right? So the COVID-19 right now, the main difference between the other crisis that I went through is that it's more chaotic now. There's more uncertainty. It's very confusing and it's very troubling for literally everyone, from the top right down to everyone on the ground. Whether you're a CEO of a company or a brand new person that just came in. So we're all experiencing the same thing. Okay, it's very uncertain. We cannot go out. We cannot really interact. Actually, not really. We cannot interact with anyone except on a situation like this. So I also want to tell you that we're going through tough times now, rocky times right now. Historically, boom times happen after tough times. The secret is that we have to be able to get through the tough times to make it to the boom. Okay, so what we have to do now is we have to learn, we have to practice, and we have to implement whatever we need to do in order to get ready for all of that. Now, some people say this is the best of times. Some people say it's the worst of times. For some industries, they're doing very well. Okay, for a lot of industries, for a lot of companies, we're not doing well at all. So we can put people, we can put all these companies into two categories. The two categories are you going to give up and fight? Are you going to give up or are you going to fight? Right? So the giving up for some of us, it means that we just do nothing. We wait and see. We wonder what we're going to do today. We wonder what we're going to do tomorrow. We wonder what we're going to do next week. We just, take a step back and just do nothing. And then the other, the fight, yes, we'll wait and see. We take a look at the situation. And then we there's a buzzword going around nowadays. It's, that buzzword is pivot, pivot your business, pivot your company. I don't know if I really agree with with the actual word pivot. What we really need to do is we need to outthink, we need to outperform, and it comes down to practice and learn and implement. Okay, that's what's going to get us through. All right. So the agenda today is we're going to talk about how do we transform our selling mindset. How do we transform our selling skill set, our abilities. We'll talk about some of the sales flaws. You see, right now, it's not like the whole situation is not that the sales is suffering because of COVID. We actually have flaws before, okay? And the flaws are coming out now, all right? And then we'll talk about what's working. Okay, so the problem with salespeople, and I'll say whether it's a business owner or an entrepreneur or an actual, sales executive. Okay, business owners, entrepreneurs, sales executives. Our one of our functions is to generate revenue. Okay, so when I say salespeople, I don't mean to exclude the business owners and the entrepreneurs. So the problem with all these categories, right, with salespeople, is that what we found over many years, it's not a new problem, is that companies and individuals, they rather focus on product training versus selling skills training. They want to know all the technical things. They want to go through technical training rather than sales skills. Okay, what that has done is, even in good times, even in the best of times, 1/3 of business owners, entrepreneurs, and salespeople are ineffective, even in the best times, before we're entering this situation. Okay, and the sad truth is maybe it's more than 1/3. The reason for that is because they have no clue what to do. The number one problem is we don't do enough. We don't do enough of the right activities. Okay, so let's talk about mindset, very quickly. All right. So the other problem, not only with salespeople, but the problem with how other people look at people in sales, is that, oh, they're pushy, they're annoying, and they're greedy. And granted, some are, and some don't know how to say it the right way, so that we don't present ourselves as being pushy or annoying or greedy. And instead of saying pushy, I like to use this term, professionally persistent. Okay, greedy means that, and sometimes there's nothing really wrong with greed, right? But the situation is when someone says you're greedy, it's like you just want and you don't give. So it's kind of like a two-way street. So the problem is not the now. All right, the problem is not the now. The now just brought out more of the situation. Okay, the problem is not the MCO. The problem is not COVID-19. The problem is not the economy. The problem is that we're not prepared. The problem is we don't have enough skills. We don't have the right skills. We don't take enough action. Okay, we don't do enough, and we don't do enough of the right things. So the main problem, it comes down to these things that you see on your screen right now. Our prospects know too much. Sometimes our prospects know more than us, because of things like Professor Google. Anything that we want to ask, we ask Google. Google says, oh, this is the answer. So sometimes when we're talking to prospects, sometimes when we're talking to clients, they think, and sometimes they really do, they know more about our product or our service than we're telling them. Okay, and the other issue is that a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, salespeople, sales executives, they like to focus on features versus the benefits. So the feature is what something is, and a benefit is what something does for them. Okay, so instead of saying, okay, this thing is square, this thing is, whatever the features are, we should be focusing on what benefit is the prospect or the client going to get out of dealing with us, in us providing the service or the product to them. Okay, and this needs to be made very, very clear. So another problem is we become complacent. In the best of times, we became complacent. All right, a lot of businesses say, oh, things are going fine, we don't need to do this. I'll give you a quick example. About 2 years ago, we approached. Let's see, I had a campaign. We set up a campaign where we approached about 50 to 60 law firms here in Malaysia. About 2 years ago, so we were talking to them because law firms, lawyers, solicitors, they're like, oh, we got to follow the rules, and we cannot market too much. And so we created something for them that fell within the bar guidelines, the legal framework. And so I personally approached about 50 to 60. I called them up, made an appointment, I talked to them. told them all the benefits they would get, and the answer from all of them was, "Oh, we don't need that. We have enough clients right now. We don't need to do what you're suggesting." So we scrapped that. Okay, that was 2 years ago. But within that 2 years, we followed up with several of them. I think it was like 2 or 3 dozen that we followed. We sent them information. Keeping in touch with them. And last week, or about 10 days ago, 3 of them approached us and said, "Hey, you know what? We received this information. We remember talking to you about 2 years ago. We need your help now." Okay, the complacency that business owners, entrepreneurs, and sales executives have, when we're not in a situation like this, it's like, you know what? Tomorrow's another day. I'm okay for now. We need to get rid of that mentality. We must get rid of it. Okay, learning, practice, and implementation. All right, and then the other situation is we're not skilled enough. We don't know how to prospect the right way. Okay, if let's say you prospect, how many of us have this experience where we try to talk to someone, "Hey, you're trying to sell me something." Okay, if they're doing that, you're doing 2 things wrong. First is they're not the right person that you should be talking to, so they're not qualified. Second is maybe you're saying the wrong things, and we'll touch on this a little bit more later on. Okay, so business owners, entrepreneurs, and sales executives, these are the problems that we face, right? We compete on price. When you let go of the feature and the benefit, when you let go of like, this is how my product or service is going to benefit you, then we compete on price. Then it's like, then we start going into a price war. It's like, oh, my competitor does it for 200, I'll do it for 190, and then we start fighting each other. Okay, so if you always compete on price, you're not selling. Okay, and frankly, honestly, everyone listening here, who loves to deal with the price buyers, right? The next problem is we don't reach decision makers. We for a couple of reasons. First, we think they're busy. Second is they really are busy. Third is we don't have a strategy to reach decision makers. Or we have competition and we're always losing deals to the competition. Sometimes your sales cycle is too long. All right. Now there's some industries where the sales cycle is long, but we sometimes let it go too far. All right. One of the biggest problems is having unqualified or not enough leads to talk to. How many times have you woken up in the morning before COVID-19? Definitely now, but before COVID-19, how many times have you woken up in the morning and you said to yourself, "Who am I going to talk to today?" And then when someone talks to you, even deep down, that they're not qualified. They're not qualified, but you still talk to them because someone's talking to you, and you grab onto it as if you're drowning, and you grab onto a life raft. All right. We don't know how to handle objections. Okay, objections like, "I'm not interested. Your price is too high. Got to check with my partner. Got to check with my boss. Don't have the budget." Whatever the objections that you get in your profession, how do we normally answer? It's like, "Oh no, it's not. Oh, okay, I understand." Okay, so how do you really handle objections? Objection handling, there's a structure. Okay, there's a way to handle objections without coming across pushy, without coming across as it's like, "I don't care about what you're saying." All right. When COVID-19 is over or almost over, or we get down of a lockdown and quarantine situations, what we're going to have is increased competition, right? Some companies will be out of business because they cannot handle it. All right. But there's going to be less consumers or less prospects and more people trying to sell to them. Now, if you have a situation where you're always sending out price quotes and you don't get any deals or you get no answers, then you're doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong in your proposal. You're doing something wrong in your approach. You're doing something wrong that is making them not say yes to you. Okay. If you're struggling to sell value, then you don't know the real distinction between what's a feature and what's a benefit. Okay. the having unqualified or not enough leads comes from ineffective prospecting. I'll share this with you. I've been in sales for 30 years, run my company for 22 years. One of the best things that we do is we cold call. All right. Now, cold calling is not for everyone, because you think you don't know how to do it. All right. But I'll share this with you. I spend 1.5 to 2 hours every single day, and I still cold call. All right. I use my scripts. I practice my scripts. I practice my objections every single day. Now, here's where most of the deals are lost, where we don't follow up. I want to share one of my philosophies with you. One of my philosophies on follow up is follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up until they buy or they die. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that you hope that they die. All right. What I'm saying is that I follow up with a qualified prospect, not an unqualified prospect. I follow up with a qualified prospect diligently and professionally. Okay, two examples I'll share with you. One I mentioned earlier with the law firms. Okay, we hit about we talked to about 50 to 60 law firms 2 years ago. Kept in touch with them over the last 2 years, and then now this situation comes up, and then they approach us. So follow up doesn't mean, hey, you're gonna buy. Hey, you're going to buy it next week. Hey, you're going to buy today. We're not talking about that. All right. Another example is we have a lot of real estate clients here over here in Malaysia, and we created a 70-day follow-up plan for them. Okay. Most sales executive, entrepreneurs, business owners, they follow up 1 time or 2 times and then they stop. Maybe 3 or 4. Now, can you imagine the results that you're going to get when you have a 70-day follow-up? All right. All of this, everything that I just mentioned, all of this is caused by a lack or a non-existence of a proper sales process and system. You see, here's the first thing. A lot of us, there's a perception, that you're in sales. Oh, because you couldn't do anything else. All right. Or you're not smart enough to be a doctor or a lawyer, so you became a salesperson. We have to get rid of that. We have to get rid of the mentality. The sales profession is a noble profession. Okay, if it's a noble profession, you must have your proper process, you must have your proper skills, and you must have a proper system. Now, the situation right now brings out more of the flaws that we have, that we became complacent. And we didn't learn, we didn't train, we didn't practice, over the last, whether it's 6 months or 6 years or whatever it is. Now, actually, it's 4 main flaws, right? The 4 main flaws here are what salespeople tend to do is they just show up and they throw up. Okay, what I mean by that is that when you're in front of someone, you just regurgitate everything about your company, about your product or your service. You're not really asking questions. You're not talking about benefits that they're going to get. You just regurgitate everything. And here's another thing. When you show up and throw up, you're doing this if your prospect suddenly gets like a little bit bored, or he's saying, oh, can you speed it up a little? Or skip that and then just tell me this. When you hear that, that's when that's what you're doing. All right. I want to caution everyone on this one as well. Okay. If you start your presentation talking about, oh, my company is this, and this is our building, and these are the awards that we get. As a prospect, I take a lot of appointments from sales executives as well, and whenever they start talking too much about the history of the company and and all these things, I'll say, you know what? I don't need to hear that. I need you to pick it up and move on. Okay. The second flaw is pitching everybody. Okay. In direct selling, the notorious in direct selling, there's a term. Everyone within 1 meter or 6 feet or whatever the distance is, tell everybody. Okay. Here's the thing. If you're pitching everybody, you're pitching the same message. If you're pitching everybody, you're actually selling nobody. Okay. the whatever the business is, whatever the industry is, you have to make sure that the prospect is qualified and they can benefit from what you have. Or brain picking, where you don't know how to qualify the right way, where you think that everybody is a prospect. And then the one of the final flaws is relationship selling. Now, I'm not saying like create a relationship with a prospect. What I mean is that you become too good. You become too good with them. You're too friendly with them. They give you a call, you answer, and then you do whatever they want. Thinking that because of the relationship, you're going to get all the sales. Now, in today's economy, in today's business, this has less of importance in the criteria of most people making a buying or financial decision. So now that we know what doesn't work, what is working? I'm going to tell you this, okay? These things that you see right now, they've worked before. They're working now during quarantine and lockdown, and they're going to work when everything is over, okay? The first thing that you have to realize is that you got to have people to talk to, and it's not just anybody. All right, you have to prospect. You have to get the right kind of prospect. You have to make sure that the prospect is qualified. Then you have to provide insight and value to kind of make them say, hey, you know what? Maybe I should listen to Chris. Okay. And then you have to qualify and disqualify. Most people just think that, oh, they're talking to me, I'm going to try and sell them. All right. You have to qualify them in whatever criteria your business is, whatever your product or service is. Don't spend too much time, dealing with people that are disqualified by you. All right. I'm not saying ignore them or brush them off. What I am saying is you want to spend your time, because right now, this becomes even more apparent. Right now, what is even more apparent is that time is our one of our biggest resources. Okay, so we want to spend time with quality prospects that are qualified, and we can, which comes to the next point, where we can solve the problem and we can show benefits to them. So you have to find prospects that have a problem, whether they realize it or not. Now, if they realize they have a problem, then it's a little bit easier. Then you can show them how you're going to solve the problem, show them the benefits they're going to get. What's a little bit more challenging is when they have a problem, they think they might or might not have a problem, but they don't really think it's a problem. That's going to be more of a challenge. Okay, that's where sales skills comes in. So if you don't have sales skills, if you don't have selling skills, you're not going to sell. All right. And of course, what really works is follow-up. Okay. Now, in 2019, a study was done, and I suspect that these numbers are a little off, because the study says that 67% of the salespeople have reached out to less than 250 leads. Now, 250 leads sounds like a lot. All right. Actually, I suspect the number is way lower. But let's think about this. In 1 year, there's 365 days. There's 52 weeks. Okay. Let's say you work Monday to Friday. You take out Saturday, Sunday. So you're left with about 290 days of work. So if you've reached out to less than 250 leads, you've talked to less than one lead or prospect per day in one whole year. Okay. I'm telling you, you have to stop. You have to stop that. You must stop. You must reach out to more people. You must reach out to prospects and qualify them or disqualify them. I'm telling you right now, 250 leads is ridiculous. Okay, and that's why so many businesses, entrepreneurs, and sales executives are suffering, because the COVID-19 brought out these problems. We had these before. We had them before. We just didn't realize it. Okay. Right now, there's two things, in front of us that are obstacles. Okay, the first is that it's getting harder to get in front of prospects. This was, in recent times, the last 1, 2, 3, 4 years, harder to get in front of prospects, because remember, prospects sometimes they know more than us, right? With social distancing, okay, with the economy the way that it is, with the virus going around, we cannot really get in front of people anymore. It's not that easy to get in front of people. Okay, what we have to do is we have to get creative, just like how you and I are connecting right now. All right, it's also going to get harder to close deals, because more objections are going to come up. The objections are, times are uncertain. Oh, we don't have the budget for it. Our cash flow no good. Scared to spend. Don't know if I need that. Don't think I'm interested. Don't have time to meet you. These are objections that we're getting now that we were getting before anyway. All right. The reason we don't know how to close deals now when we get these objections is because we never knew how to answer these objections, right? We were never diligent enough to increase our skills to handle objections. I'm not interested. Check with my partner. Don't have the budget. Too much money. Now we're getting all of these objections. Every deal that you have, you're going to get these objections. It's going to get harder to close deals if you do not have these skills. Okay. Here's what I'm asking you to do. Is it impossible to close deals right now? I'm telling you the answer is no. The structure that I shared with you earlier, has worked for the last 30 years for me. It's worked for the last 22 years that I've been teaching this to my students and my clients. It works for my company. We're closing deals. We are closing deals right now. Okay. I'm telling you, it's not impossible. What you have to do is you have to take your product and service. There's people that will buy. All right. In any economy, I want you to think of this. In any economy, there's a phrase. All right. Buyers will always be buying, and sellers will always be selling. Do you think right now in any country that you're in, houses are not being sold, luxury items are not being sold? Somebody is buying them and somebody is selling them. Whatever the product or service is, somebody's buying it, somebody's selling it. What you have to do is you have to think of a few things. The first thing you have to think of is, who can buy this, or who should buy this? How can I approach them? I'm going to share a formula with you in a while on how we can do this. All right. So you need to figure out, how are you going to take your product and your service and pitch the features and the benefits for the benefit of the prospect, so that they can turn into a client. Okay. So right now, I know there's a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, and sales professionals that's not prospecting. They're not practicing the skills, and not saying, I need to get better in prospecting. I need to get better in cold calling, in telesales, in telephone etiquette, in handling objections. How do I qualify someone? You're not asking yourself these questions. If you start to ask yourself these questions, then you're going to have a situation where then you realize that these are the skills that I need. Now learn, then you practice. You have to practice every day. Now, I'll give you this example. At the age of 49, running the company for 22 years, we have scripts. Okay, we have scripts on appointment setting. We have scripts on cold calling. We have scripts on how to handle objections. I wrote all of those, and I still practice those every single day, every single morning. Okay. And some of you are saying, "Oh, we don't like scripts. Oh, scripts are no good. Makes me sound like a robot. Makes me sound like I'm reading." The reason you sound like a robot, the reason you sound like you're reading, is because you're not practicing. And I'll share this with you, all of you, every single person. If you're on the phone, if you're talking to customers, you have a script. You have a script right now. The only difference is two things. The first is your script is not written down. Okay. The second is your script sucks. All right. If you're not getting the results that you need, your script sucks. You need to get a better script. You need to create a better script. Okay. I want you to think about this also. There's some days that you talk to a client where, it's like you're Superman and everything just happens pop, pop in the right order. They're agreeing with everything that you're saying. Every objection that they throw at you, you handle it perfectly and you close the deal. And then tomorrow or the next day, you get the same situation and they go, oh, I don't know if we can afford it. And then you think, oh, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to handle this. But you had that situation yesterday. The reason that you don't know how to do it today and you did it well yesterday is because your script is not written down. You don't practice. You don't rehearse. You don't keep using it. You rely on your memory and you rely on your wits. I'm telling you this, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a sales professional, don't rely 100% just on your wits. You need to get your script. You need to get your skills. You need to know how to pitch. You need to know how to use the phone. You need to know how to cold call. You need to know how to do telesales. You need to know how to qualify. You need to know how to present persuasively. You need to know how to handle objections. You need to know how to close. You need to know how to follow up. You need to know how to do all these things. Now, am I saying that you're going to go from today to tomorrow? Like, okay, you make no cold calls a day. Tomorrow, I want you to make 100. No, you're going to die if you do that. All right. And even if you can make 100 tomorrow, can you make 100 every single day for the rest of this year? Okay. Here's what I know. If you had to, if your life depended on it, you would do that. All right. But we cannot keep up that pace. Here's a formula I want to share with you. Okay. The formula is you make small changes and you have daily action, and that gives you massive results. I'll give you an example. Let's say some of us want to lose weight. Let's say we want to lose 10 kilograms, right? Do we go to the gym for 10 hours in one day and then we lose 10 kilograms the next day? No, it doesn't happen that way. You got to go to the gym consistently and do something every day, and that's how you lose the weight. I'm telling you guys, ladies, gentlemen, everybody on this session, everyone that can hear the sound of my voice and looking at me, I'm telling you, small changes, daily action gives you massive results. You go from 67% of sales executives reach out to less than 250 leads in 1 year. If that's you, make a change now. Don't go from making, you see, some of us do this. Okay, if we average it out, you're making 1 call a day. 1 call a day is not going to put food on your table. Do you understand? Okay, you got to make 10 calls, 20 calls, 30 calls. All right. Don't go from 1 to 100. Let's run these numbers. If you make 20 calls a day, for example, 20 calls a day, 5 days a week is 100. 100 in a month is 400. 400 times 12 is 4,800. Okay, you reached out to 4,800 prospects by just doing 20 calls a day. Okay, now that's not enough. You have to figure out who are you going to talk to. Are they qualified? But you know what? It's way better than doing nothing, isn't it? It's way better than doing nothing. So I wanna share something with you that will help you. Okay, I have a webinar series. I call it the Sales Edge Success 7 Power Skills webinar series. Now it's 7 topics, and each one of these is designed to enhance your business and your sales skills. Now each of these webinars is 90 minutes plus, so you can take a look at the topics there. All right. There's two ways you can check into this. All right. The first is you can get the slides when we're done with the session, or the next thing you can do is you can hit the QR code and you can request the information there. But either way, you'll get this information. Okay. Now, here's 2 main activities that business owners, entrepreneurs, and sales professionals need to do. I break it out into two basic categories. The first is online, and the second is offline. If we talk about online, everyone knows, oh, Facebook. Okay, I tried Facebook before I posted this. Either people whacked me, or they insulted me, or I got no response, or I got PMs. I sent them PM, and then nobody responded. Okay, then we go into offline. Offline is everything else that's not Facebook, LinkedIn, social media. All right, I'm going to give you a structure on how to do it right online. Okay, so here's the structure. The structure is what we call in digital marketing a basic funnel. Now, I've done digital marketing since 2008, so the last 10 to 12 years. All right, so here's a basic funnel. The basic funnel is we start off with the entry point. The second is the landing page, and the third is how we convert. Okay, I'm going to give you the structure for each one. So when we go into the intake is how people enter into your system. Everybody can enter, but then you're going to want to qualify them. So when you post on Facebook, sometimes you go, hey, I got this, I got this product, I got this service. Who wants it? That's what most of us do, right? Whatever your product or service is like, hey, I got this. Do you want it? PM. Stop doing that. All right. First, you have to call out the person. You have to qualify them. You have to make them say, yeah, that's me. I think I'm interested in that. Right. So the structure is this. Are you a fill in the blank? Are you a whatever your demographic prospect is? Are you a, or if you are a, all right? And you want, okay, I'll give you an example. Are you a struggling sales professional and you want to close more deals to get more sales, to get more revenue, to get more commission, to get more money for yourself so that you can give yourself and your family a better life? Okay, so that's how I would start. Here's what I got for you. Okay, I have the sales edge of success, seven skills webinar series. That's what I got for you. Here's what it'll do for you. It'll take whatever level you're at right now in your selling activities and your selling results, and it's going to raise it up. Okay, that's what it will do for you. Here's what to do next. Click the QR code, click the link, or wait for the slides to be sent to you, and then enter the website or hit the QR code. That's what you do next. Okay, now the next part is the landing page. The landing page is very, very important because it's going to give the information in more detail. You're going to have a call to action. The call to action on a landing page is, of course, now don't go to the store, right? Maybe visit online, e-commerce buy, or attend an event. Just like how everyone on this session, you saw a link, you clicked it, and then you went to a form to fill in, and you registered yourself for the session, right? So that's that's going for the event. Or you can download, you can get information, you download information, or you can request a call, or you can set an appointment. Okay, there's things that we can do to make all these very, very easy. Now, the go to the store, the e-commerce buy, go to event, and the info download, those are very simple because we can just put links. But request a call, I want you to write this down. I want you to write down online calendar. Okay, use an online calendar to schedule your appointments, to set your appointments. Okay, some of you are saying, oh, I use Google Calendar. Don't make me knock your head, all right? It's not enough. A Google Calendar is not enough. Somebody cannot go to your Google Calendar and book an appointment with you, can they? Cannot be done. You have to take more action before it gets to that point, okay? For those of you that will get the free gift or get information on the webinar series, I'm going to show you exactly how this part works. All right. So I'm going to show you how that works in a little while. Okay. So you have all these things on your landing page. Now, sorry, let me rephrase that. You should not have all these things on your landing page. You should have maximum 1 or 2 actions for them to take when they're on the landing page. Because when you have all these things, then people get confused. Okay. So pick 1 or 2. Okay. So after the landing page, this is what you do. You have to follow up. You have to educate. You have to nurture. You have to build relationship, and you have to close the deal. Now, why do we go through this whole process from the intake, the landing page, and closing the deal? The reason we do this is very simple. I want you to think of a time when you were going to buy something, and then you said, I'm going to buy it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes in and you forgot, oh, where was that place again? We've all done it. All right. You see, buyers are the people that are ready to buy. You have a couple characteristics. Okay. The first are, I'm going to buy right now. They say, I'm going to buy right now, and they take action now. Then you have the other ones that say, I'm going to buy, but I'll buy tomorrow. Okay. Then you have another one that says, I'm going to buy, but I'll be ready in 6 months. Then, of course, you have the ones that say, I'm never going to buy, right? But you want to classify, these 3 or 4 categories so that you know how you're going to follow up, how you're going to educate them, how you're going to keep the relationship, and eventually how you're going to close the deal. Because most of us have said that I want to buy this, and I think I'll be ready in a week. And then 1 week passes, we say, I'm ready to buy this, but I forgot who I'm going to buy it from. And then you just find somebody else. What if you're the one that created the interest, created the desire, and made that person say, I want to buy this, but I'll buy next week. And then 1 week later, you're the one that created that, you're the one that's responsible for creating this desire to buy that particular product, but they didn't buy from you. How many times has that happened? How many times have you done that when you were trying to buy something? Okay. In business, for entrepreneurs, business owners, and sales executives, you must hit the ones that are going to buy now. You have to hit the ones that say, I'm going to buy now, but I'm going to wait a bit. Or I really want this, but I'm going to wait a while. Okay. You must be able to tackle those people, those individuals. Now, I'm gonna offer you something. Okay, this one is free. Okay, I'm gonna help you get your business, your service, and your products online. Okay, I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it, and there's no charge for this. Okay, so this is what you do. Now, remember earlier when I said that I'm going to teach you how to set an appointment on an online calendar. This is how it's done. All right. So now I'm telling you that if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a sales professional, and you want to put your business, your service, or your products online now, and you don't know how to do it, or you don't know how to market it the right way, this is what you do. You click on this QR code. It'll take you to my online calendar, and you choose a day and a time according to my availability, and you book the time with me. Okay, I'm going to go on to the next slide very quickly, but I'll give you about 10 seconds to take a picture of this if you're using your desktop. If you're using your phone to watch this session, you can take a screenshot, or you can wait for the PDF slides to come to you, and then you can click on that link to set your appointment. Okay. So let's go into offline. Offline, very simple 3-step process. I'm going to tell you this, yeah? It's a very simple 3-step process, but it's not easy, okay? There's a lot of work. There's a lot of things that you have to do. There's a lot of preparation. There's many things you have to do. But in sales, in selling, business owners, entrepreneurs, sales professionals, in selling, you have 3 basic things. Identify your target, present persuasively, make an irresistible offer. Okay, let's break down each one. Now, identifying the target. Most of us think, like the salespeople, they just want to talk to everyone. Do you want to buy? 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 No, we don't do that. Okay. What we do is we figure out who our perfect client is. Before we figure out who our perfect client is, what I want you to do is I want you to take something to write on, and I want you to list out using a pen and paper. I want you to list out who is your perfect client. What does your perfect client look like? Male, female, 20 to 30, 30 to 50, profession, neighborhood, where do they live? What do they like? I want you to list out who your perfect client is. I'll give you one example. We deal a lot with insurance agents. We train insurance agents. I'm telling you, we train a lot of insurance agents. They make a lot of money. Okay, we have one client. His name is Nick. Nick is in the northern part of Malaysia. Nick was doing not so okay selling insurance. Nick is a former engineer. I forget if he's a mechanical or civil engineer. I forgot, but not a very interesting person to talk to. Sorry, Nick, but it's true. Okay, so we found that his closing ratio was like whatever it was. So we taught him the skills. We taught him all these things, what to do, to market, to close. His clients went up, but not by a whole lot. But it went up to a level where he was happy. All right. But what we did was I wasn't happy with the results that went up. So I looked a little closer, and what we found is that his closing ratio and his marketing efforts were really, really effective to other engineers. Okay, so when Nick was talking to a non-engineer, it was like boring, it was dry and whatnot. But when he was talking to other engineers, it was like they were really clicking. Okay, so what we did was we kind of ignored most of everyone else, and we focused on engineers. Okay, and his closing went all the way up. When I talk about perfect client, that's what I'm talking about. Then the next part is, how are you going to reach out to them? How are you going to solve their problem? How are you going to make them realize that, damn, I have a problem, and then I'm here to solve it for you. Okay. Now, not everybody makes a decision immediately, right? We try to, but not everybody makes a decision immediately. So we have to follow up. Do you know how to follow up? Okay. In the my webinar series, the 7 sales skills, we devote one session, a 90-minute session, just on follow up. Okay. I will teach you how to follow up so that they never get pissed at you. They don't get angry with you. They will never say you're annoying. You will never forget anyone that you've ever talked to that you must follow up with them, because as a business owner, entrepreneur, or a sales professional, you're sitting at your desk one day, or you're trying to do your work, and then you go, I forgot to call that guy last week. And then you're shy. You feel shy to call them and say, hey, I forgot to call you last week. My follow-up sucks. Okay? We will teach you how to be a master at follow-up. If you know Ariva, if you know JM, you ask him, do I know how to follow up? Ask Irish, do I know how to follow up? Okay? So I'm telling you that one of the biggest problems that business owners, entrepreneurs, and sales executives, sales professionals have, whether you're in insurance, whether you're real estate, whether you're direct selling, whether you sell machinery, whatever it is, I'm telling you, your follow-up sucks. And you need to change that now. Just the follow-up part will change your business. I'm telling you, it will change your business. So that's one of the modules in our 7 skills webinar series. You need to check that out. Okay. So the next part, persuasive presentation. You have to know what to say. You have to know how to say it, and you have to know when to say it. Okay. Oh, my company is this, and we're in this building. We got 200 staff. Da, da, da. People don't want to hear too much of that. Okay. You got to know what to say. Now, do you never say that part? Do you never talk about your company? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you got to know when to say it. You got to know when to go. Ask the closing question. You got to know when to be firm. You got to know when to be soft. You got to know how to say these things. Okay. You got to know when to smile. You got to know when to frown a bit. You got to know when to push forward, when to pull back a little bit. If you need to know these things, okay, we don't have time on this session to go into that. That's a whole different module. But if you need to know these things, that's one of the modules in my 7 sales skills webinar series. You need to check that out. Okay. Now, irresistible offer. Irresistible offer does not mean, it's $1,000 dollars, ringgit, peso, whatever it is. It's 1,000. Today you can get it for 10. Now that is an irresistible offer, but it's like that's not it. Okay. We're talking about when we talk about irresistible offer, what is the value of the product or the service? What is the benefit that the prospect is going to receive from this? Okay. It's not always about price. Okay. You must build a value. Value is can be challenging. Sometimes we don't know how to build value. Sometimes when we think we're building value, we're actually discounting price. One of the last things we do is we discount price. Okay. When we talk about value, we build value. For example, you get buy this from me, I'll add this. I'll throw it in as a free service. Okay. So that's how you build value. Now, when we think about our process, when we think about selling skills, when we think about sales strategies, when we think about techniques and systems, right? Everything we talked about is the sales flow, the individual selling skills. All right. Here's what I want to share with you. Okay. What I want to share with you is that regardless of the economy, regardless of a quarantine or MCO, I'm telling you that if you take these skills, you learn it, you practice it, and you implement it, you take action, I'm telling you, whatever your product or service is, you can find somebody to buy it. I'm telling you that. All right. So we achieve all these with 3 things: the system, the strategies, and the skills. Okay. We have to know how our sales flow is. We have to know the strategies that we're going to implement, whether it's online or offline, whether we're going to use the phone, whether we're going to use Facebook or LinkedIn. Then we talk about the individual skills. We talk about the individual skills of do you know how to prospect the right way? Do you know how to qualify? Do you know how to persuade? Do you know how to handle objections? Do you know how to close? Do you know how to follow up? Okay, so with that, I want to leave you with my direct contact details. You can hit the QR code and it'll send you the information. I'm sorry, if you hit the QR code, that will send a WhatsApp to our business number. That's how you spell my name. Don't spell it any other way. That's my email address, mobile number. If you have questions that you cannot think of now, you can email. But one of the best ways to do it is wait for these slides to come to you. Take advantage of the free gift that I want to send to you. Why can't I close deals now? Take advantage of, take a look at the 7 Sales Skills webinar series. If you want to know how to bring your business online, set up, go to my online calendar and set up a time to have a conversation with me, and I'll tell you exactly how it works. Okay. And with that, Irish, I've come to the end of my official presentation.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chris. That was a lot. Wow. Identifying target, persuasive presentation, making irresistible offer. That was really helpful for us, especially me as a sales professional. But, anyways, we will now move on to our question and answer. But before that, we'll just have a quick break. And for our participants, before we move on to our break, I would like first to greet happy birthday to our participants, Sir Nestor, Christine, Mylene, and Winnie. Happy birthday and thank you for spending your day with us. So, guys, we'll be right back.